Hello and welcome to Your Government in Action, a presentation of Bahamas Information Services. I'm Carissa Williamson. During her 2025-2026 national budget contribution in the House of Assembly on June 5, 2025, Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Glenys Hanna-Martin, highlighted major efforts to amplify student wellness and improve school attendance, which includes the National School Breakfast Program.
In the Ministry of Education, we produced buttons and we erected billboards, which can be seen throughout New Providence, in Grand Bahama and Abaco, depicting the images of children, which declares, every child counts. This solemn principle undergirds our policies, decisions, and actions. It fires our determination. The core purpose of the education system must be to instill in our young people a fortified sense of self and equip them with the essential skills needed to navigate life successfully and confidently in this environment and with their limitations, to live happy and fulfilled lives. Madam Speaker, literacy and numeracy lie at the heart of this process. They open the world for human functioning and form the foundation for critical thinking. And these functionalities have been a central focus of the ministry's efforts. But the truth is, these foundational abilities have been severely impacted, this is the truth, by all that I have spoken of and more. To make progress and effect change, we must face truth. Our own national data, however, demonstrates this more potently, that chronic absenteeism often reveals serious risk factors and sometimes precedes tragic outcomes. I will not go into the details. Ensuring that children are in school has been a non-negotiable priority of the Ministry of Education. An attendance crisis was especially acute in the days, weeks, and months after schools reopened in January 2022. In response, the ministry launched an intensive campaign, Find Every Child. This began with community walks led by educators, school support staff, unions, NGOs, and parents. It was a beautiful sight across the country and evolved into more sustained and structured strategies. We engaged additional attendance officers and monitors. We expanded the attendance unit. These officers act on daily reports to locate chronically absent students. In January 2024, we launched the National School Attendance Hotline. The number is 422-2253 to allow for confidential reporting of absenteeism in children and young people school age. These officers go into homes and communities, often accompanied by the police, SROs. They work with agencies such as the Child Welfare Division of the Ministry of Social Services to offer support and facilitate students' return to school. A critical innovation that has been developed in the Education Management Information System, the EMIS, which features a dashboard that raises an alert for any child in any public school anywhere in the country who is chronically absent. Attendance officers are required to respond immediately. Madam Speaker, this is important because the research shows and the facts show when a child is chronically absent, that child is at risk in a most serious way in some instances. One of the criteria for obtaining the high school diploma is meeting a minimum attendance requirement. This reinforces our shared national understanding that children must be in school. Additionally, we introduced a critical new initiative, initially piloted in a few schools, then expanded to all Family Island and all 8 schools, and now, as announced by the Prime Minister, extended to every public, primary, and all 8 school in the nation. Once this phase is complete, every public pre-primary and primary school in the country will be covered. And this initiative is the National School Breakfast Program.
Yes, yes.
Madam Speaker, this program was launched in October 2023, not that long ago, as a pilot in 4 primary schools in New Providence. What began as a modest pilot has grown with speed, precision, and purpose into a nationwide investment in health, equity, and learning. By November 2023, the program extended to 4 Family Island schools in Exuma, Cat Island, Abaco, and Grand Bahama. And by April of 2024, 5 more schools in New Providence were added. By May of 2024, over 4,300 students across 13 schools were receiving free breakfast, a number that has grown dramatically since. This government, Madam Speaker, backed its vision with resources. The breakfast program's budget was increased from $1 million in 2023, as I've described, to $5.7 million by September of 2024. As of February 13, 2025, the program had already served over 500,000 breakfasts. And by the end of this school year, we expect to surpass 933,000 breakfasts served, nearly 1 million free breakfasts.
Also in her 2025-2026 national budget contribution in the House of Assembly on June 5, 2025, Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Glenys Hanna-Martin, stated that the transformation of education begins with its investment in teachers. She highlighted various initiatives aimed at boosting morale and professional development and the strengthening of the Teacher Cadets program.
Madam Speaker, we cannot speak of educational transformation without speaking of those at the center of the classroom, our teachers and administrators. The mission of the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training is clear: to equip all Bahamians with the knowledge, skills, and values needed to thrive in an independent, rapidly changing world. But that mission is only achievable when the people tasked with delivering it, our teachers and administrators, are empowered, recognized, and supported.
Yes.
If we are to expect excellence from our teachers, we must treat them with excellence in return. That begins with respect.
Yes.
And respect is shown through action. In 2022, the ministry established the Teacher Morale Committee, public and private sector. It is now a permanent body with a focused mission to uplift, support, and invest in the well-being and professional growth of educators across the Bahamas. Too often, teacher morale is treated as a secondary concern. We reject that notion entirely, and this committee is evidence of that. The morale of our teachers is a front-line issue, because when a teacher feels unseen, unsupported, or undervalued, it shows in the classroom. And when a teacher feels motivated, empowered, and equipped, that too makes all the difference. That is why, under the leadership of this committee, we launched the Teachers Professional Development Grant in 2024-2025 academic year. I think it's close to 70 educators have already benefited, receiving direct financial support to pursue training, certification, and development opportunities. And we're not stopping there. And that is why the career path system, which has been reintroduced, remains one of our most critical tools for investing in the teaching profession. It is a structured, transparent framework that rewards excellence, supports advancement, and ensures that teacher morale and motivation remain high. During the 2024-25 academic year, I am proud to report that the Career Path section recommended the promotion of 24 senior teachers in public schools across our nation, from Inagua to Grand Bahama, from Long Island to New Providence. These promotions are not ceremonial. They are earned through dedication, excellence, and a clear demonstration of impact in our schools. And there were 11 of those candidates, additional candidates, who were deferred. And the ministry is now assessing these teachers. But every one of these promotions qualitatively imbue the education system. And it ensures that students benefit from the wisdom and stability of experienced educators who are able to experience career growth without leaving the classrooms that they love. The alternative is to go into administration. And I remember seeing one of our principals recently promoted, and she said, I don't know how long I'm going to do this because I miss the classroom. This allows teachers to stay in the classroom and to continue their passion, which is teaching children this nation. To support this work, $40,000 was allocated during the 2021-22 fiscal year to complete the 7th assessment cycle. But as we look ahead to the 8th cycle set to begin in September 2025, our work must scale to meet the growing needs of a modernized public education system. And the ministry has allocated $226,500 to support this cycle, covering the training and payment of assessors, travel and accommodation, workshop materials, digital tools for assessment, and a coordinated public relations strategy to communicate the purpose and benefit of the program. The career path system enhances quality, rewards commitment, and engenders a system where excellence is not the exception. Madam Speaker, this is how we build a profession. When we invest in structured career advancement, we send a clear message that teaching is a profession worthy of growth, recognition, and reward, indispensable to national progress.
Sweeping curriculum reforms from preschool to high school are currently underway with the investment in literacy, technical education, and career readiness to ensure that Bahamian students are prepared for the real world. This, according to Minister of Education, Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Glenys Hanna-Martin, during her 2025-2026 budget contribution in the House of Assembly on June 5, 2025.
Speaker, to truly transform education, we must start with what we teach and how we teach it. That is why the Curriculum and Instruction Division has been restructured to foster greater cohesion and continuity from pre-primary straight through to senior high school. This is where we're talking a lot about literacy and numeracy, where we have a serious challenge. Officers who share subject areas now work together across grade levels, building a more aligned and intentional progression in learning, ensuring that what is taught in grade 3 prepares students for grade 6, and that grade 9 seamlessly prepares them for the BGCSE and beyond. We have also taken deliberate steps to strengthen support for special education and early childhood education, beginning with the placement of our special education officers alongside the preschool team. This allows for early intervention, which we know is the key to a child's progress, and a more seamless transition for students with additional needs. Our early childhood section continues to expand access to quality pre-primary education, particularly in underserved areas. We've launched new mentorship programs for preschool teachers, implemented the use of child-friendly coding tools like the Kibo robots, and introduced a transition program for 3- and 4-year-olds to help them prepare for formal school. This is a first in this country. Parents who participated in the program last year at E.P. Roberts and Thelma Gibson have already shared overwhelming positive feedback. Madam Speaker, foundational literacy remains a national priority, and we are responding with action in the primary language arts section. We've delivered Savas reading routines companions. Those who are teachers and technical persons know what this is. We've delivered them to every public school, backed by more than $140,000 in resources. We have implemented national 1-minute fluency assessments across all public primary schools to track real-time reading progress. And we've relaunched monthly literacy coordinator meetings to keep best practices alive across the archipelago. This work will continue with greater intensity in the upcoming school year, including new coaching cycles, online training modules, and targeted school-based interventions. We are serious about this issue of literacy. But we've also brought a new focus to oracy, encouraging students to articulate and express themselves. And we discovered this is something that is understated, underutilized in our schools.
More of Your Government in Action when we return. Welcome back. Various government officials gathered as regional disaster preparedness took center stage at the 15th meeting of the Council of Ministers of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency. The opening ceremony took place at Government House on June 26, 2025.
It is a privilege to welcome you all here to the islands of the Bahamas, to these historic grounds, and to this most important gathering where regional resilience meets shared responsibility. Tonight, we mark the official opening of the 15th meeting of the Council of Ministers for the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, or CDEMA, a body whose work has never been more urgent or more relevant. Across our region, CDEMA has been a lifeline, a unifying force that enables us to respond quickly, recover wisely, and build back stronger. It is a mechanism of solidarity, one that turns many nations into one Caribbean voice in the face of crisis. Whether coordinating support after a hurricane or strengthening local capacity before the next one strikes, CDEMA ensures that no member state stands alone. It links governments, donors, NGOs, and civil society in a coordinated response framework that is both efficient and rooted in regional identity. As incoming chair, I recognize the weight of this moment, and I reaffirm the Bahamas' full commitment to the advancing of CDEMA's mission. We are here not just to reflect, but to renew our collective resolve. And so, I bring you greetings on behalf of the government of the Bahamas, and I thank you for your confidence and your presence here this evening. I would also like to take this moment to acknowledge someone who has stood beside me through every chapter of this journey and to ensure that I could go home and rest well. My wife, Tamara Lundy, who's in the audience today. Thank you for being here. Her unwavering support and quiet strength have made this moment possible. Thank you again, my love. We in the Bahamas understand all too well the high cost of unpreparedness and the toll of delay. In recent years, we have faced the unimaginable, from the devastation of Hurricane Dorian to the prolonged aftermath that followed. But from those ashes, we resolved to build a smarter, stronger, and more sustainable system for disaster risk management. And so, in 2022, we passed the Disaster Risk Management Act, a landmark piece of legislation that is fundamentally reshaping how we prepare, respond, and recover. This act was not a symbolic gesture. It was and remains a decisive pivot from a model of reaction to one of resilience, a shift from disaster response and recovery to disaster risk reduction. And that shift is not merely philosophical. It is operational, legal, and institutional. For the first time in our history, we now require not just national and family island emergency plans, but full-scale disaster risk management plans at both levels. These go beyond early warning and shelter logistics. They incorporate restoration timelines, staff redeployment protocols, financial benchmarks, and multi-hazard risk analysis, all guided by data and science.
The sounds of marching bands and military precision filled Rawson Square as the annual Beat Retreat returned on June 29, 2025, as a part of the National Independence Day celebrations. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
Coming from all about, where the people work together, they join in hand, love, peace, and unity.
With the goal of strengthening regional collaboration and the growth of the aviation services sector, the Caribbean Aviation Handlers Association held its 20th anniversary conference at Atlantis Paradise Island Resort on June 27, 2025.
But I am delighted to welcome you as you convene for this 2025 Caribbean Aviation Handlers Association Conference. And for those visiting the Bahamas for the first time, I give you a special welcome. I hope that this will only be the beginning of a close relationship with our fine country. You are indeed celebrating in paradise, reconnecting the region. And there is no better place to celebrate than right here in the islands of the Bahamas. And in case you don't know, I'm not only responsible for aviation, I also happen to be responsible for tourism. And it is my day job to get heads in beds to bring groups to the islands of the Bahamas, so I'm delighted to see you for more reason than one. As you celebrate your 20th anniversary, you've indeed chosen a fitting place. And again, I applaud you for providing this forum for aviation ground handlers within the Caribbean to solve common problems while promoting safe development of aviation. Notwithstanding your agenda, no doubt this is perhaps a coming together of family, a coming together of colleagues who you've known over a long period of time. And I hope, therefore, that you've already started to have productive dialogue and conversations. And I trust that that will continue for the remaining of your event. I'm advised that over the course of your gathering, you will collaborate around themes that place a focus on sharing best practice on customer service delivery tasks, oriented allocations, efficiency, manpower, equipment, financial resilience, and a review of baggage handling policies, regional planning, and evolving geopolitical concerns. That's a mouthful. And we have found our way over the last few days in Canada, where we took a Ministry of Tourism mission to welcome all the Canadians to come to the Bahamas who aren't going to the USA anymore. And I want you to know sometimes it's a tiptoeing exercise, but the world is a small place that's becoming even more uncertain. And I know that in your deliberations, in your collaboration, you will discuss in detail how these matters and more impact what you do and what we do generally in the aviation business. It is evident, though, that our region continues to evolve with global threats to our travel industry, placing priority on a culture of safety and efficiency. And you have a constantly increasing responsibility for the safe movement of aircrafts on the ground and minimizing risk of accidents and damage.
I'm Carissa Williamson, and this has been Your Government in Action, a proud presentation of Bahamas Information Services. Join us on Wednesday evenings, where we bring you highlights, coverage, and information as we continue to do what we do best, linking people and government.